Can you just print your participant screen, maybe?
Yeah, Wade, hit gallery. If you hit gallery view, are you on the computer?
I'm actually on a Kindle.
Oh, it's going to be hard then.
What if I screenshot it? Control. No, that's not going to work.
I'm trying to find.
Oh, just take a
somewhere.
picture.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, just take a picture of the whole participant side, and then you'll have it. You can put that in your minutes or with your minutes.
Paramedic was in service. Paramedic went in service.
The only person we need to know who is 585-297-6705. On the phone.
They muted?
That's the only person without a name.
They're muted.
Yeah.
Let me search my contacts.
They
All right.
may not, can they unmute
You
themselves?
can probably take it away.
Josh, you'd have to take the mute off them because you're the host.
No, they can. Anybody can unmute themselves.
There we go. Now they're unmuted.
Yeah, it's Terry Thompson.
There you go.
The
Oh, okay,
6705.
Beautiful.
It's worth mentioning that my wife is sitting next to me, so she should also be counted on the rolls.
All right.
And we've got Jake Crooks from Medina that needs to be counted on the rolls as well. He's here with me.
Do your homework.
I guess we can officially call the meeting to order at 19:10. I want to thank Dr. Lynch for setting this all up for us. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't even be able to have a meeting. Doc, if you want to I'll let you go first. I think you said you had some things to talk to us about. And for anybody that doesn't know you, Dr. Lynch is also our CMAC physician representative for New York State.
Wade, and thanks everybody. I'm glad to be here, and I just thought I would give you a little bit of an update on what we're seeing regionally in the hospitals, and if there's any specific questions for me either now or as you guys go through the course of the meeting, please feel free to fire away. But I think as we've seen by Governor Cuomo and Mark Poloncarz recently, that it seems that things, as far as big picture goes, have been going fairly well, all things considered. And as far as dramatic increases in hospitalizations and diagnosed cases, now I think we all know to take the diagnosed cases piece with a grain of salt, since we're really not testing adequately. But anecdotally, kind of looking across all three major hospital systems, at least in the greater Buffalo area, emergency department visits in general have been down. I think for the most part, 911 calls have been down. What we have been seeing is, while we have been seeing less total number of emergency department visits, the amount of sick patients that we're seeing in the intensive care units across the city has gone up. And several hospitals have already started to utilize their overflow intensive care unit plans. That primarily being intensive care units at some hospitals around town have filled up, and are using other parts of the hospital for ICU level care. We have plenty of ventilators to go in the greater Buffalo area, and plenty of ICU capacity across the city, and still out in the community hospitals kind of scattered around. There are several treatments that are specifically directed for the coronavirus that we're learning more and more about by the day. And as we get more cases regionally, the more I think we are able to provide cutting edge treatment for even the sickest patients. So these are good things. that with that said, I mean, I think we still obviously need to be incredibly careful in the pre-hospital care environment, and I'm sure you are all doing a great job. But if I can be a resource to you, whether to answer specific questions or if there's supply issues, I'm sure there's better people on this meeting than me to help with supply issues. But I'm here for you. I'm happy to help in any way I possibly can. So I didn't want to take too much time. But if you have any specific questions, please fire away. All right. Take it away, Wade.
Okay, the first order of business is I'm going to have Colleen give us an update on the gateway situation. Did we lose Colleen?
I muted myself because my husband wasn't being quiet.
Oh.
So, sorry. So anyways, your gateway is good. It's all in the clear. Everything is rubber stamped and approved. They're still using part of Lake Plains's information, which seems to be fine. And we did do 2 voucher submittals, which was a year's worth of Lake Plains's time, the auditor's time, the accounting's time. We ordered you a new laptop. We ordered you the software. We ordered you a 2-drawer fire safe, 4-drawer file cabinet, some postage, some paper, and printer. And they approved it all. They've given you the money for it. It came via check the first time instead of direct deposit. I talked to Sean. I walked him over to the bank on Tuesday. They put it in, so we've already got the check cut back to reimburse Lake Plains for what we've paid for. And I'm working to spend as much down as possible everybody we work with, everything's dated 3/31, so we're just working to spend down as much as possible. Some is going to be impossible and it's going to go unspent, and Lake Plains is in the same boat because of the meetings, the travel, and just the way the world is right now. I asked for extensions and they sent it all the way up and they said no. So I talked to Sean about some supplies, equipment. If anybody has any ideas, what you guys could universally use as supplies or equipment, we can definitely get that in the 3/31 voucher. That we have 30 days from 3/31 to submit.
How much are we talking, Colleen?
You have about 5,000. And then I have the other question that's out there is we had budgeted for you guys to have a website created, and that was another 5,000, or it was 5,300, and I'm not sure they're going to let that go through. I asked, I have not had an answer, and it's been a few days since I asked that question. It's budgeted to do, but I don't know if it still needs to be done, is where the whole question lies. So if it still needs to be done, and then it'll be paid for you guys to have that website created. And Charlotte and/or Rob knows the better logistics of all of that. But equipment-wise, they won't bulk at things like mannequins, things like that. But if anybody comes up with anything that I can budget for under the 3/31, I can definitely do that.
Well, this obviously has to be something equipment-wise for the entire region, I'm assuming.
Correct. Yep. And then part of the deal we wrote with the MOU we have with you is that Lake Plains will house it, and like your computer, your file cabinets, all that stuff all has its own separate tags and color. So it doesn't, that was their big thing, they didn't want to intermix it with the program agency. So, sorry, my computer came unplugged. They don't want to mix it with the program agency, so everything will be color-coded differently and logged on an equipment list differently. So REMSCO and the program agency is listed separately. So, like I said, if anybody can come up with things that you feel that can be used region-wide, we can definitely get that taken care of. And I have your extension, the 3-month extension done, submitted, and approved. And I also put money in an equipment line there for you as well. And I think that's about 2,500.
Fantastic. That's all very good news.
And I also submitted, and again, with the way the world is right now, I did, because Sean is treasurer and treasurer of file, I was able to submit for the 6517 in unclaimed funds from way back when. So we finally met all the criterias to request that. That money, we don't have to expend before we get, because somewhere in your line, you've already expended it. So it will be your money to house in your bank account, not have to budget for. Kind of like the old way. The new way, you have to expend it and then voucher for it.
Right.
And I did cut that check. Sean has it because you guys have double signatures. After I put the money in the bank, I cut the check for it, and he is in possession of it.
Okay.
And that basically reimburses the year of Lake Plains time and all the equipment that we purchased for you.
Colleen, excuse me. You and I discussed earlier on the phone about making a bylaw change regarding the double signatures.
Yes.
Is that something we can discuss now? And then
Yes.
there's some law changes earlier we discussed. So if we could just do them all at once.
Yep. Was it in your bylaws, or is it something you guys voted in on that last meeting we had in Orleans County?
It was voted in for all checks, double signatures. And what was your suggestion? Was it?
You just need to to revote it and change it if you want. So the way we were going to do it is Lake Plains will cut all checks, and then someone else will have to sign them.
Right. What was the dollar you and I talked about though? Was it 5,000?
It was 5,000. That's how Lake Plains is set up. Anything over 5,000
Right.
is a double signature.
Right. And there's already a double check built in place because Sean's going to write the check, and then I sign it, and then you're going to be overlooking things anyway. So there's multiple sets of eyes looking at it.
There is. And actually, I'm running the checks. I actually cut them, and then Sean came and picked it up for me, yesterday, right, Sean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's going to get dual signature, and then he'll hand it back to me, because then you guys need another check cut for a con.
Correct.
So
Now,
Wade, I'd like to make a motion now, if I could, to make a change with the way we do the checks requiring double signatures. Anything $5,000 or over is going to need a double signature. 5,000 or less can do a single signature.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And we'll keep everything housed in your nice new fire safe that's going to get here eventually, and shipping.
Okay. All in favor of Steve's motion? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
I'll stop down to the bank tomorrow, Sean, Colleen, and I'll get that taken care of.
Okay.
Get those changes, because right now she's got it blocked out as requiring double signatures for every.
That's fair enough. I mean, I get why they were doing all of that, but
Right. So.
but she, yeah, hopefully they should be fine with it if it's in the minutes. That's all it has to be. And
Yeah.
that'll be easier on all of you. I mean, it seems like you guys either have really small checks for a couple $100s, or you have large checks.
Right.
So
mhm.
It was our option when we set up the bank account and did the signature signing. So I'm pretty sure I can just walk in and make the change tomorrow.
I know, because you guys are all good on that, and too with
Oh.
the bank, I do believe, right? Everybody's
Right. So I'm being the principal on the account, so I can walk in and make that change. I can't take anybody off. I mean, there's a process to that. But she told me down the road we could make that change if we wanted to.
And when I had that state called, nobody asked me that question, so I feel like I didn't,
Okay.
I just said who the new signers were. which was a question, and then Wade actually had to verify me with the comptroller. So we had to do a 3-way conversation with that and verify bank information and all that with the controller's
Okay.
office.
All right, good.
So we took care of all that as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as far as looking into, I'm assuming everybody's going to be on board with equipment that's going to be shared throughout the region, the 3 counties. I'd like to quickly throw an ad hoc committee together to be in charge of research and taking the suggestions. Obviously, at this point, Steve Cooley would probably be a good one to lead that committee.
Okay.
And if there's a couple other people that would be interested, to give him a hand.
What'd you just volunteer me for?
The
Equipment.
equipment, the ad hoc equipment committee.
I shouldn't have sent that text message to you. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
And that guy sits right next to you.
And I have your
I'm sure
phone
he can
number and
give you a
email,
hand.
so guess what? Let's see. I was trying to see if I can attach to my desktop. Sorry. Can you handle it?
Sounds
I
like
was trying to see,
You got
Haley, see if I could find the exact dollar amount, but I'll find it and then just email it to you.
Okay.
Or if I find it in the meantime of the meeting.
I've got another volunteer right here in the room with me, Rick Brunet. He'll also be on that committee.
Okay. Yeah, so the sooner the better, because we don't, I mean, I literally have to post it all and send it, no later than April 30th.
All right. Who else is on that committee now, Wade?
You, Rick Brunet. If we could get somebody from Niagara.
Wait, I can do it.
I was just going to say Brent Ash sounds like the perfect person.
There we go. You think the 3 of you will be enough, Steve, or you want Jake to give you a hand as well?
I think the 3 of us will be enough. I can reach out to other folks if I need to. I think I got everybody's email from our previous lists out. If not, I can get a hold of Rob.
Okay.
Let's see if I can have this answer for you really quick. Non-personal equipment. Education, training, equipment. Oh, I take that. Well, I don't know if that's the right one or not. Let me get a better answer in the morning, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Who am I going to send it to? Who should I send it to?
You can send it to Steve Cooley.
Okay, I'll send it to you then. I think this is an old one. I just don't want to give you the wrong answer. But
Okay.
it's in excess of 5,000. That I do know.
Okay.
She had me change that budget. The budget got changed so many times that it made me crazy. Yeah, okay. I'll get you the answer no later in the morning. If not, I'll send it tonight if I find it.
Okay.
I think this one's working good. I have one other person that would also like to be on the committee. Lori Schwab just text me.
Oh, I know Lori's phone number. I can text her too. That's the 6-month one. All right, and I know that for your next quarter for sure, your 3-month from April to June, you have, I'll give you the exact amount you can think ahead for the future, is 17, oh, my internet's so slow. Non-personnel. Okay, everybody is on. Okay, so training equipment, For April to June, it's going to be $1,728. That's just, but what we're the next amount I have to just find is, and I can't find it for some reason in my email. That's the larger amount, but that will give you something to think about to spend from April to June as well.
Okay.
My desktop's not working again, Charlotte, for some reason. But I'll get that out. Steve, I'll send you that answer in the morning because I have to go to the office.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
Do you have anything else, Colleen?
I don't think so unless you guys have questions for me. I mean, I'm happy the gateway's done. The comptroller let us off the hook the other day and they mailed the checks and they're letting you buy stuff.
Well, that's fantastic news, and thank you for all your hard work.
Oh, you're welcome. It was happy. I thought I was so excited when the checks came in the mail. Patty saw me doing a little dance. So it was worth it. I'm glad it got it done for you guys, and I'm glad we can get some stuff done for you. Keep you going.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, along the same lines, we'll move on to Sean with the treasurer's report, and you can tack your CON update on there too if you want to, Sean.
Okay. So what we were able to do, again, with Colleen's help, is working with the 5-star, I should mention Steve as well, because we had to go to the bank there in Medina. We were able to get all the signers updated. We now have the online banking so we can see the information. Currently in our checking account, we have $14,500.33 plus the checks that Colleen had gotten. So we're able to do and see online banking, which will be an asset to us as we move down the line. We also had the check that Colleen was talking about. It's made out for Lake Plains for all the work that they have done and the purchases that they have in the works. The total amount for the check is $13,350.64. And that I will sign that off. And I guess I'll need to catch up with possibly you, Steve, since you're on here. If you can tell me, I see you're working tonight, but I don't know if you're working tomorrow.
No, I'm off tonight. I work the next 2 days. So I work Thursday, Friday.
During the day?
Yep.
And what time do you get off or start and finish it?
I finish at 5 p.
At 5 p.
Yeah, 7, 8 to 5 p.
Okay, I'll try to work into my schedule to get out there the next 2 days before 5 o'clock. I'm sure Friday I'll be able to because I'm off, so. Yeah, that's Friday. So I'll work to catch up with you to get the signature on that so I can get it back to Colleen.
Okay, great.
And then we'll check swap again.
And then we'll do the next check swap. I do owe you the email for that. That would be for the Mark Butler for the con, so we can get the $1,400, whatever that one is.
Yeah, if you give me that, I'm in the office tomorrow, so I can open up the safe and write that check out for you.
Okay, I'll send that email to you.
Okay.
And you also were going to send me an email.
Well, I told you I would forget if I hadn't done it when you were standing in my foyer.
I know I should have texted myself, but I will think of it. And it had to do with what we already discussed, which was the purchasing of the equipment. So I think it was nothing more than, what each of the line items was for the budget, I think.
Okay, yep, okay, yep.
If
And I
I'm
can't get on my desktop for some reason. Again, I got it to work for a minute, and now it won't work. But I'll get you that. It'll remind me when I'm in getting that check cut for you.
Me too.
Okay.
So that's all I have on the banking side of it. As far as the cons, there's a lot of things that are, I think, just in limbo right now. We have the Twin City one that we have in our possession. We're waiting for the state. They're the ones that are actually doing all the legwork on it. All we're going to do is approve that one once they say they've done all the work for the transfer of ownership. There's really nothing for us to do.
Hey, Sean.
Yes.
Real quick, Andy from Twin City.
if you send an email to Dana to request their fitness and competency, that is all ready.
Oh, he's got everything ready then.
It should be because Worms Council asked for it last month or the month or end of February, so it should be all set.
Okay, I'll reach out to him tomorrow. I'm just write it out. Okay. Because I usually wait for him to tell me he's ready for us to push everything through, so. Okay, I'll get that off to him. The other one was South Wilson. I heard nothing back that anyone contested it, so I'm assuming that one is moving forward. But again, with everything going on, I haven't really bothered the state with anything. But, so, that's all I've got unless anyone has questions.
I believe the South Wilson one just needs to get approval from the REMSCO.
Okay.
Anything else, Sean?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, we'll move on to Robert with his report.
Good evening. So as probably the majority of you know, the office got shut down about mid-March. And I've been essentially, like everyone else, been working from home. Well, everyone else in the office, I've been working at home. And part of what I'm doing is I actually got tasked out to help the state in the data and informatics department with them on data issues from day to day. That doesn't mean I'm not doing program agency stuff. It's I'm just not doing a tremendous amount of program agency stuff. And the fact that we're all kind of isolated and quarantined here kind of freed me up from CME and stuff like that. So it did free up my schedule a little bit, and I've been helping out the state with that. Pretty much every week, I probably attend about 4 or 5 different meetings from the state, including all the ones that I deal with on the working with the state. Most of you have probably heard by now, certifications. There's been a big change in the certifications of everyone. Everybody that is currently active, not expired, your certification has been extended 1 year. That has been updated in the health commerce system. As far as cards being reissued with the new expiration date, well, that's going to take a while. Nobody is at central office right now. They shut down that office at the moment. So they obviously do not have a pathway to reissue cards. Everybody that expired from September of last year, so September 2019, up till today is going to be given an extension of 1 year on their card from the date of expiration. So if you expired in October of last year, you'll get a 1 year extension to October of this year. To complicate things even worse, they're going to grant provisional status to EMTs who expired between January 2015 to August of 2019. And depending on how you fall in there, you might get your card back as an EMT. You might get your card back at your highest level that you had. But that provisional status will remain in effect until the end of December this year. It was mentioned on the conference call today that if while you're in provisional status, you do the CME recert, then you can get your card back for another 3 years. So I think they're really trying to boast their numbers is what they're trying to do. And they're using COVID to do it. I do want to talk about the HCS. If anybody's been participating in some of these calls, you've heard that the program agency can get you access into the health commerce system. Yes, I can. I have no problem doing that, but you need to reach out to me. I don't want to just give it to everybody. I think it should stay with some of the upper agency leaders only. But if you reach out to me, I'll give you the directions and we'll get you all set up. It usually doesn't take a lot of time. And I have seen an uptick in requests for that. So just keep in mind, I just ask that we kind of keep it to the agency leadership and not, you know, EMT Joe Blow on the side there. So a couple of things I want to discuss. One, I meant to mention it at the last meeting. Things got kind of wound up at the last meeting and we were discussing the preamble to this whole COVID issue. Dr. Don Collier from Niagara Falls needs approval for REMAC representation from Niagara Falls Memorial. So if you guys could consider that and give the blessings so that at the next REMAC meeting, I can make that official on that end, I would appreciate that. And the last thing I actually want to discuss is alternate destinations. For some reason, alternate destinations falls on the responsibility of you guys. And I know part of what I'm doing for the state is establishing the list of alternate destinations within the New York City region. And that project's been kind of handed down to me. So one thing is REMSCO you might want to consider now before this may become a problem is, are we going to use alternate destination sites? And if so, which ones are you going to approve as alternate destination sites? And what I mean is the use of urgent care facilities or the immediate care facilities, those that are non-Article 28 facilities, where we can take our patients that are not as a high priority to those. It basically falls under the ET3 that has been established by the REMSCO, I think at the last meeting. So you guys might want to ponder that. And then the last thing, as a part of the fact that you're now on the gateway, I am required to do the quarterly report for the Big Lakes REMSCO. So I might be reaching out to some of those key people in those positions to gain the information I need in order to submit that appropriately. So that is pretty much all I have.
Well, as far as the alternate destinations, is this a temporary thing or they're looking at making it relatively permanent?
So I would say that if you establish alternate destinations now, that it will probably remain permanent in the end. It's a big hurdle. You have to identify them. Then we have to get all the specific demographic information so that I can upload those into the regional repository as well as the state repository for data. And then we would have to get that information out to all the other agencies not using per se ImageTrend, but like ESO platforms, ZOL platforms, so that they can add those into their facility lists as well. Go ahead, Steve.
So what I got at the meeting today was, it was kind of confusing. Obviously, if you were listening in, I know Andrew was and Justin, but the state said they kicked that back to the regions. They okayed the procedure for it, the policy, but they kicked it back to the region. So I took that as the regional offices, because I think there needs to be some communications. I mean, something's going to have to come from REMAC.
Yeah, so I had that discussion with REMAC, and it's kind of a mixed emotion, and we're not getting a direct answer, even though I'm asking the direct questions of those individuals that need to answer it. I felt it fell on the REMAC since they're in charge of transportation and policies, procedures, things of that nature. But the state is saying it falls on the REMSCO to make that decision and then follow it up with, I guess, REMAC approval. So what I would have done, or what I plan on doing, is if you guys come up with a list of sites you're going to use for alternate destination facilities that you approve, I will take it to the REMAC leadership and I will say, these are Big Lakes' alternate destination sites. Can I get approval from the REMAC on this?
Rob, are there other regional councils actively doing this?
So yes, there are, Dr. Lynch. As a matter of fact, New York City has roughly 270 identified alternate destination sites within the city region.
I think I was more referring to local, the other regional councils.
So I talked to Scott and he said no, but Alicia from STEMS, they have identified 6 alternate destination sites.
Do you know what those are?
I do. I can send you an email.
Yeah, just are they urgent cares or doctor's offices or what are they exactly?
All theirs that they identified are urgent cares, but you can use doctor offices as an alternate destination site.
Okay, sounds good.
It's basically a free-for-all. It's anything that's not an Article 28 facility. But we would need to know, is it an urgent care? Is it a doctor's office? Do they have a specialty? Those types of things.
I would mean those facilities need to be agreeable though, right?
That is correct. We can't just so, oh, we're going to choose here and just show up one day. Yes, there would probably have to be some agreement.
And transport to an alternative destination needs to be approved with online medical direction or no?
Not unless it's identified as an alternate destination facility.
I think
Like right
before it gets approved by medical direction, it should be able to be approved by REMAC to be in our protocols. Because right now we don't have that option.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I could answer that question. I think I would have to defer that to the state.
It's Justin. On that call today, Steve, they did say that the only reason really for letting the state know was so that they could get that added in for billing purposes, I believe. And
yeah,
then
that's what I took away from the call earlier today too.
And then I don't know what Melrem's involvement is, but the calls that I've been on with Monroe County earlier this week, it sounds like they're looking at some alternate destinations. Maybe not set up yet, but they have a plan for surge that's going to include alternate destinations on the Monroe County side of things. And I just got an email from our Region 5 regional coordinator, and they need a list. All the county coordinators have to brief tomorrow morning at the 10:30 call-in any planned future or present alternate care facilities that are going to be used within their counties.
You're saying that you need those locations tomorrow, Justin?
That's what the email we just got from Megan Pine is our, I don't know how to say her last name the right way, but she's our regional coordinator for Region 5. And she said, can everyone please be prepared to brief locations of any planned future or present alternate care facilities in your county for the 10:30 call tomorrow. We just need confirmation of already known sites and want to ensure we're tracking any new sites.
I think that's virtually impossible because it's a huge responsibility, and I think that Dr. Lynch should probably have a lot of input on that as our medical director and our representative.
Well, yeah, I think what I would tell them tomorrow is that, or Justin, I think the message would be, unless anyone disagrees, that we're working with the other regions in Western New York and the REMAC to determine alternative destinations. We don't have a specific list at this time, but we will be most likely identifying urgent cares in the region.
Okay, I can
it
we'll
shows we've
put
thought
that for our
about it.
brief. Sorry about that. We'll put that for our brief tomorrow, and then but I'm sure Niagara and Genesee, Tim and John might be reaching out to the EMS folks from their respective counties to get input as well.
Yeah, right. I mean, no one's ready to give the specific list tomorrow, and I think that this will not be a surprise. But I think showing them that that's our plan, it shows them that we've given this some thought, and we'll work on working the specifics. This whole process seems kind of backwards, but I think unless anybody disagrees, why don't we just leave that as our official statement for tomorrow?
Sure.
Did you have anything else, Robert?
I did not, sir. I believe that, unless anyone else had any other questions.
I just had one additional thing on Rob's part for the 1 year 1 year extension for certifications. For those that are expiring in the next month or 2 months before they can print new cards, you need to go to your agency to get. They have to access the Health Commerce site to print up your new extension date. And you have to carry that with your expired card. So if you get stopped, you have to have the piece of paper that has your extension along with your current New York State EMT card.
Do we have anybody from DOH on the line tonight?
I know Ed's been pretty busy. He has actually been in the pre-planning phase of trying to prepare for any surge up in this area, so he may not be on.
Okay. Okay, does anybody have anything else for Robert?
Robert, just quick, REMAX skills, are those done away with or they're pushed back? Is that it?
Yeah, so my apologies for not bringing that up. That was one thing. The REMAC made the decision to push off skills to, I think it was September, the end of September.
Okay.
And in addition to that, I know a lot of providers have been are probably dealing with expired alphabet cards. Those have, by the REMAC, those have been extended to the end of May, and they'll reevaluate at that time and see where we're at if we need to extend it further.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Rob, it's Justin again. Along the lines of those REMAX skills, if we have people that were with expired cards, so they did do the REMAX skills the last time, and we bring them back on board, do we need to update rosters and have them do REMAX skills before we bring them back online?
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to ask is, because of everything that's going on and the mass amount of emails I actually get on a daily basis, try not to send me anything pertaining to that right now. When we get to a point where we're kind of chilled out a little bit, I will reach out to everyone and ask for them at that time. But I don't want something to get lost in my email and then I end up reaching out to you saying, why didn't you turn in your skills when in fact you did? So that would be my only caveat during this.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't just like a carte blanche. Hey, you're good. Here's your card. You're good till the end of the year.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Hey, Wade.
Yes.
I just spoke with Ed and about the alternative transportation destination policy, and it falls both on the REMAC and the local regional councils to create a list for the alternative destination transports policy. So we're going to have to work with the REMAC and other local region councils to get that list approved.
Okay, so we have to come up with the list, basically, is what you're saying?
Yeah, in consultation with the local REMAC.
Okay.
So this is going to be something that, we're going to have to take to the REMAC, and hopefully, not to give Dr. Lynch more work, but hopefully Dr. Lynch can talk to the REMAC and work with them as, our contact for our council and to bring us a list of suitable destinations.
Well, at this point in time, should we form a small committee to work in conjunction with Dr. Lynch to work on this?
Wade, I've been texting with Dr. O'Brien. So we are in the beginning of working on identifying those for the region.
Okay, so you guys are going to handle it?
I believe so. Okay. And also the REMAX skills are extended to September 30th.
Yep.
So
September 30th?
Yeah, any issues between now and then for renewals or extensions should be a non-issue. Keep Rob's inbox clean.
Thank you, Dr. Lynch.
Anything else on that topic? Okay, did we have any old business to discuss? Anybody have any new business they'd like to bring up? Other than what we've already discussed?
How are the agencies that you guys are working with or part of on PPE?
Well, I know our EMO in Orleans was told not to fill out any more requests and send them in to the state. Justin, has that changed at all?
What is that?
No,
What do you
we're-
mean by that, Steve?
Go ahead, Doc.
That there's nothing else left, or
They
No,
just don't want, they don't want any more requests to come in. You're gonna get what you've ordered and you'll get it when you get it. But the one day when I talked to our executive secretary, she said like one box of surgical masks had shown up and that was it for the day.
I can explain. So 2 weeks ago, we had to put in a weekly burn down rate for what we would use in across the county, and each county had to provide this. If it wasn't provided, that went to county exec level, and they were getting phone calls directly from the governor's henchmen in Albany. So from that burn down list, they're basically supplying supplies to us as they come in and based on those weekly burn rates. So we get shipments. They basically gave us 2 days to take all the tickets that we had in New York Responds and get the information that we needed out of them. And then they went through and deleted every request that we had in New York Response for PPE that hadn't been fulfilled. After that, we had to provide that burn down plan and from the weekly burn rate plan with a distribution plan for all that material. And then as we get material in, we have to provide information back to the state with how we distributed that material across the county. So we're still getting material in. But as of today's 2:30 meeting with the state, they had no idea when we were going to be getting more PPE in at the county level from the state and federal stockpiles. If that answers that question.
And that's for Orleans County, Justin?
That was the entire state. So that basically the message applied to all three counties. All three counties had to do the same thing. So I think we're all in the same boat right now. I know Niagara has ordered some of their own stuff. Orleans has ordered their own stuff. We have ordered $33,000 worth of PPE this past week, and we're getting 25% of it by the end of this coming week, by the end of next week, and then the remainder of it by the end of the month. So I can't remember the breakdown off the top of my head with what it was, but there was gowns, gloves, masks. And I know, like I said, Niagara did a similar purchase as well, I believe. I don't know if Genesee has or not.
Sean, have you been involved in any of that?
No, I just fired off a text to Tim just to see if I could get an update real quick. I haven't heard of any issues at this point. I know they've, been sharing out the equipment. So, but I don't know what, if anything, they've purchased on the side.
The one other thing, I know Genesee County has trimmed their BLSFR responses. Orleans has trimmed their BLSFR responses. The minimum amount of people to get the job done is what we need right now. What's Niagara County doing? If I can ask.
I know as far as the fire companies and that, everybody's still going, but a lot of them are being held at the hall and letting like the officer, the ambulance dictate once they get there and assess, hey, do we need more help or we're going to be all set? A lot of them are just congregating at the scene, kind of making a runway, so to speak, which is safe and unsafe in its own aspect. But I know a lot of it, they definitely put in policies, limiting, like the state said, limiting personnel on equipment, limiting personnel interaction, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah, just to give you an update for like Genesee, and I think Orleans is doing the same thing.
We are.
It's pretty much, we do not go on any illness calls as a BLSFR. We're not even dispatched to illness or possible COVID calls. If it's if a COVID call turns into an ALS call, trouble breathing, we are dispatched. But one, we're limiting the number of people going possible exposed, and that way we're saving on equipment as well, because what do you need first responders going in there going, yep, you're sick and there's nothing they're going to be able to do for them, and then a transporting agency comes in fully geared. It seems like a waste. So that's the direction we've taken right now.
I know that in Niagara County, they haven't changed EMD policies. You know, everybody's still getting dispatched for everything like they normally do. I know last week while I was working, I ran into Jonathan Schultz, and he had mentioned that some of the BLSFR agencies and fire departments, you know, were sending the cavalry and wasting all this PPE. And he's like, come on, guys, you got to be smart about this. You know, we can't have all this wasted PPE. You know, if you had 6 codes or, you know, an MCI accident and you were prepared and so on and so forth, I completely understand. But when you had 1 EMS call and you wasted, you know, 2 dozen worth of supplies, something doesn't make sense here. We're in a shortage. You know, we got to be smart about this.
That's why I think it's better just to stop it at the dispatch end. Just stop dispatching those calls. Then you're not getting the firefighters congregating at the firehouse either, because social distancing isn't being performed all too well when you've got 20 providers on scene or at the firehouse.
And especially when the public looks at us. So someone's going to go by, take a picture, and that's just going to be posted all over social media.
Absolutely.
And at this time, it's going to send a wrong message.
I know that was part of his talks. I mean, I'm not sure what he's doing, him and Dan are doing as far as the agency level and, you know, with the sheriff's office and the director and stuff like that, as far as what they're doing. I know that internally some agencies have told some of their elderly members and, you know, health stricken members, hey, look, no offense, we'd love to see you around, but it's not in your best interest right now. You know, stay and we'll figure out something if you need, you know, later on for LoSAP and everything else, if that's the case.
Yeah, we've done the same with the older members.
I know some of the Genesee County companies have told them, you know, if you're over 65 years of age, no offense, but you're not welcome at the hall right at the moment. Stay home and stay safe.
Anybody have anything else?
I have a couple of policies about like decon response procedures, who goes into a house, like limiting exposure at the scene. Couple other like decon things that I'm happy to share. This is a kind of a combination of Dr. Bart, myself, LVAC, and a couple of the volunteer fire departments in Clarence. If anybody's looking, or if you know any departments that are kind of looking for something like on paper that they can follow. And that goes as far as to say there's really no congregating at the hall, and a bunch of other kind of ways that I think were fairly well written by them, to kind of address a lot of the things that maybe we're all struggling with.
Okay.
Wade, do you want me to send that to you? And
yes, and then I can. Yes.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else tonight?
Hey, Wade, I got one thing, and Steve, you might be able to answer. During the BEMS call today, they had talked about the different documentation restrictions being lifted on some of the stuff in the vital signs.
Yes, that was done.
Part of that. Has that policy been approved and pushed out? I haven't seen that yet, and like I said, my phone was cutting in and out inside the EMO.
I've got a message that I sent to all my guys at Medina in regards to it. A lot of it was the electronic stuff that was changed. There's certain things. I'm not sure what format. Are you using paper still?
In Carlton we are, but I'm sure that there was probably only a handful of people from across the Orleans that were on that call, and would probably behoove us to send that out.
Okay.
To
EMS
distro.
EMS charts, emailed something out to all the system administrators the other day. What I'll do is I'll forward you that I forwarded to my people, and it talks about the changes.
Okay.
I think I could probably help with this.
Okay.
So there was some of the schematron issues that were causing problems. We've been collecting, or the state's been collecting, sorry, information pertaining to some of these struggles. And during the COVID, it was decided to ease up on a lot of the rules. It does apply to electronic, and those rolled out Tuesday to the agencies, and the state has updated theirs. So that's where that kind of came in there.
Thank you.
You'll have it in a minute, Justin.
Thanks, Steve.
Does anybody have anything else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
I'll
Anybody second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I want to thank Dr. Lynch very much for setting this up for us. I think we got some business conducted and very successful. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
Yes, thanks, Dr. Lynch.
Thanks.